From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your morning update.
Your weekend weather update is made possible by Caltrans District 2.
Dennis's Heating and Air Conditioning is Northern California's premier heating and air conditioning contractor. From residential housing, large commercial projects, installation to repair, sheet metal fabrication, and everything in between, we are your go-to heating and air conditioning specialist.
Hey folks, good morning and happy Saturday. Hope you've been well so far. The warming trend will continue over the next few days, and we have this one last day of slightly unsettled weather across the area. Let's hop right into it. In the valley, we'll be in the lower 70s today. Up towards Siskiyou, Modoc County, we're going to call it about mid-50s or so. You got more shot at upper 60s, lower 70s in the eastern mountains, maybe out towards Modoc County as well. But that's where we're seeing that unsettled weather, those downpours possible, some rumbles of thunder as well. And that's really especially east of I-5. You can really notice that out there. I think we're going to be just fine in the valley, though, for the most part. I don't expect too much precipitation out there. Still cool here out along the coast in Trinity County with temperatures stuck in the 50s. But again, that warming trend will take hold as high pressure takes over the next 7 days. So I think we're going to start heading into the summer-like pattern here pretty quickly after this is out of here. So taking a look at the Futurecast, has a pretty good handle on things over the next 6 or so hours. There's that stuff we've been talking about, right? Notice that unsettled convective pattern through the eastern mountains, through Plumas County, through Lassen County, and even portions of Modoc County, right? See what I was talking about? Really east of the valley, east of I-5, and then west of the valley, out towards Trinity County and the coast, you're not seeing quite as much. So that's where we're looking at the maximum for precipitation chances. Drying out by tonight, so I do think after sunset and into tomorrow morning, that's whenever this pattern takes hold of dry weather, clear weather. Check it out by tomorrow morning. Great conditions out there. And of course, like I was mentioning just a second ago, this ushers in that warming trend, which is going to stick for the rest of the week as well. Taking a look at the extended term Futurecast, well, that ridging sure is making itself known. Might have a little bit of wind, and you even still have a little bit of marine layer activity here through this first portion of the week, but otherwise no precipitation besides some mid-level cloud type moisture through the midweek there. Doing just fine all the way through the end of the week and even towards next weekend as well. The nearest system is still hundreds of miles off the coast to our west, so of course that allows us to dry out and warm up over the next 7 days. Those two things work in concert to kind of provide well above average temperatures, right? Check out the western portion of the United States here as we get into this omega block pattern through this mid portion of May, maybe out through mid-May. That's whenever we're going to start seeing these temperatures really warm up across the North State. Let's take a look at the 7-day, see what that looks like. So here's what we got for your 7-day outlook. Again, I mentioned it earlier, we might have some gusty winds through the rest of this weekend, but otherwise just fine. Notice along the coast, you get back up to the mid-60s by Tuesday, but go a little further inland and notice that trend, right? Of course, you always, if you've been here long enough, know the trend, know the deal. Head a little further inland towards those microclimates, and you really pronounce and see those pronounced trends upwards, right? So we go from the 70s to the 80s in just a couple of days. Out in Trinity County, same story, mid to upper 80s is the story by Tuesday or Wednesday. Current indications seem to suggest that Tuesday and Wednesday, maybe out towards Thursday as well, will be the warmest portion of the week. So we'll call it about midweek or so for the maximum temperatures. Now Shasta City, those 60s are turning to 70s, and those 70s might be flirting with 80s by the time we're heading through Tuesday and Wednesday. Altus and Modoc County, it's the same story there, 50s to 60s to 70s consecutively each day. So we see that trend, staircase climb upwards in those temperatures out towards the eastern mountains, or those 80s coming in by midweek again Wednesday and into Thursday. And in the valley, of course, as usual, you are the winners for those temperature trends over the next several days. Look at those 90s coming back in here across the area. Yeah. Earlier when I mentioned the summer-like pattern, in a lot of ways, I think that's really holding here for the next 7 days. So go out and enjoy it, take a hike, but be sure to wear the sunscreen because it's getting warm out there.